Yeah, we are in the midst of
Hey guys, this is the Easter Bunny, and welcome to another episode on the Symmetria server. This is episode number 21. Thank you so much for joining me today. And you were probably all expecting to see Backdraft here, but no, I'm not Backdraft, I'm the Easter Bunny. Because that's what happens when you AFK overnight, and somebody comes and does this to you. And it's not just that I have a bunny hat on my head, or bunny head on my head, bunny head on my head. It also has Curse of Binding, so I can't take it off unless I kill myself, which I think we're gonna have to do eventually. But anyway, yes, we are decked out in Easter Bunny gear, courtesy of our friend Fluffy Butt. Yes, Fluffy Butt, I know it was you. I know it was you, because I don't know if you intentionally meant to, but you left your shulker box here. And it's called Fluffy Bucks Project Box number 11. Did you mean to do that, or was it an accident? So as I just said, since last episode, we have done an AFK session overnight with this farm, and I was pretty happy with the result. I was expecting more, but you never know what the rates are going to be with this farm because of who's online and who's not online. But essentially, we got quite a bit of stuff. And the one thing that I was after, which is the bones and the gunpowder, we got quite a bit of gunpowder. This is going to hold us off for quite a while, I think. And we also got a ton of bones, which we already converted over into bone meal, and it looks like that got us 10 and then some stacks. We actually have a bunch more bones we can convert into bone meal, so it's probably more like 11 or 12 stacks of bone blocks, which is over a double chest of bone meal, which I am super stoked about. We're gonna be taking these bone blocks over I'm not gonna get used to that. We're gonna be taking these bone blocks over to the wood farm, the nether wood farm, at some point during this episode to get more red nether wart blocks to make more red nether brick for the wall build. And speaking of Fluffy Butt, we have a gift here from our good friend. What is it? What? Well, that's gonna last us quite a while. I mean, I'm glad I have friends. So it's the massive amount of bone meal that we farmed, and the even massive amount massiver that we got from Fluffy Butt, we should have no problem getting all of the netherwort blocks that we need and fill up our farm with some crimson wood over here, because we are going to need to grow the crimson stems in order to get the red netherwort blocks. So that should give us way more than enough than we're going to need, and may even last us to the end of the season at this point. So thank you so much, Fluffy Butt. We're going to get this farm rolling at some point in the episode as well. And though it was fun while it lasted, it's time to get rid of this terrifying pink bunny head. Ah, that's better. And we got an extra one of our own heads as well. So we have a couple more community projects on the server that are now underway. The first one is the Nether Hub, and I actually joined in with a bunch of fellow Symmetrians to help hollow out the area for where the Nether Hub is going to be. So this gigantic square area that we're standing in is how big the Nether Hub is going to be on this server. It's going to be gigantic. So there was a bit of a building competition, and they ended up picking the winner this past week, and we're going to be building the Nether Hub pretty soon. So with the construction of that nether hub on the way, we have volunteered our super smelter to help out with the effort and smelt up a bunch of netherrack to get the nether brick that we'll need to build the nether hub. So I currently have 5 shulker boxes full of netherrack. We've got a couple of them smelted up already into nether brick, and we are just churning it back and forth while we play around the base. There is a bunch of it currently waiting to be smelted back up, and this also means that we're probably going to use up all of the bamboo stocks that we have. So I went and turned back on the bamboo farms, and they should be cranking out mass amounts of bamboo once the daylight sensors kick in. So it's time to talk about the plans for the rest of this episode, and before I do that, I have something to show you. Bam! The wall is finally done! So in the past couple live streams, if you guys have missed them, be sure to check me out on Wednesdays and Sundays between 6 and 7 o'clock EST live on YouTube. But plug aside, we have finished the walls surrounding the city, finally. So now that this is done, the next step out here is to do some terraforming. So step 1 is to get this little hill mountain thingy built out. into the city this way so that we can build the wall up against it. And then we also have a build that we're going to do inside of that hill over there. I have 3 builds in mind so far before we actually start breaking this out into plots so we can bring over the Symmetrians and have them help us build up this city. And of course, along the outer edges of the walls, there is a bunch of sand and other blocks that need to be cleared out as well. And of course, we're going to be building a little bridge or something over here to kind of go over this little river. And I think we're going to terraform the river as well so it doesn't look so funky over here and just make it more complete and natural looking. Also in this episode, I have a build for the throne room. Finally, we have an awesome build. We have a throne, we have a bunch of decorations and stuff. They're going to go in the throne room that is directly behind me at the Agraba Palace. It has been a long time coming that we finish up this final room, and after that all we have left to do is the little patios that are on the left and the right side of the palace, and then of course the areas down below which we're going to be putting gardens and other kinds of fun stuff as well. But first things first, I think it's time to terraform.
Perfect.
So that takes care of the terraforming, and I'm so glad we finally got that out of the way. Terraforming is not something that I dread doing, but it is normally something that I don't really find myself that good at, but I am super proud of what we ended up with. So I was able to get rid of all of the stone in the middle and all of that and make it all sand and sandstone. I also unfortunately had to remove the Viking in the SCV, but Boofty, if you're watching, don't be afraid. I was able to save schematics for both of them and all of the materials so we can rebuild them at some point later down in this season. So this hill right here, I'm actually pretty proud of it. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments, but essentially what I wanted to do was make it look like the wall was kind of butted up against the hills, and then whoever built it kind of like shoveled the sand into place to make it consistent with the wall. So it is a little hollow because of the plans that I have for this hill later on in the season. I'm not going to spoil that right now, but I'll let you guys know when that gets closer for that project. Apart from that, we went all the way around the wall and terraformed all of the sand. So you can see on this side right here, we kind of made it look a little bit more pretty and consistent. I try to keep it as natural looking as possible so that it doesn't look like, you know, like row after row after row. So it's a little bit more, blendy-inny with the surroundings. So I hollowed this out because I think eventually we're going to have a path here. And if we come up right over here, I said that I was going to do some terraforming around the river to make it look a little bit more natural as well. And we did that. I was able to add in a bunch of seagrass and bring the river through here so it can meet up with the water over there and just make it look a little bit more natural. Now over here, we have the terraforming done as well. We pulled this wall, I guess the wall of sand away from our actual wall, made it a little bit more nice. And over here is where the hill meets the wall, and I left this at a little bit more of a vertical, which is fine because I think the idea here is the wall is supposed to keep people out of the city that are not welcome inside of the city. So keeping this a little vertical here, I think kind of is consistent with that theme. So now I want to come away a little bit from the wall and the city and concentrate on the last room inside of the palace. And like I said at the beginning of the episode, it is the throne room, which is directly behind me, and we have our design ready and raring to go. And I tried to make this room as awesome as possible. It is the throne room. It is where audiences are held with the amazing Sultan of Agraba City, so it has to look impressive. There's a few things tiny little details that I'm gonna add to this build that are just gonna make it pop a little bit more. And there's gonna be a couple things we're gonna have to put together that is gonna take some time, but that is okay. But first, we're gonna get started with the base build for the room. We're gonna get everything together and we're gonna hit this one in a third-person time lapse with some music. So I hope you guys enjoy, and roll it. Boom, 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 boom. It's finally done. We have a giant elephant throne. It's sweet. I don't. Those of you who have watched my streams, you guys got a sneak preview of how this room looks, and it has turned out amazing. Now, on the other hand, those of you who have seen the streams are also noticing that there is a couple things that are missing, and have no fear, we're going to get those done before the end of this episode. But just check out what we've done so far. I'm pretty proud of the details that I was able to come up with this. Pretty proud of the details that I was able to come up with for this room. I can't talk. The ceiling is one of the things in particular that I was super proud of. I don't really design ceilings very often, and this one I think turned out really sweet. There's like a center focal point to it, and it kind of goes out and adds a little bit more darkness and detail as it gets towards the edges of the ceiling. I think that turned out really sweet. We have the desert flowers decorating each side of the throne room, and of course the golden elephant with the awesome little crown on top of its head, which is kind of hard to see from here, but it is really, really, really cool. And of course we have the seat. What sultan is not complete without a giant golden elephant throne to sit on? Let me know your guys' thoughts on the entire room as a whole down in the comments, and of course on the golden elephant throne, which was designed by my good buddy Dark Solid. Shout out to him. This thing is amazing. I tried for a while to come up with a design. I messed around with like a Ravager head throne because I couldn't really nail the look of the elephant. I mean, we're going for a little bit of realism here in terms of what's actually in the Aladdin movie, and in the throne room there is an elephant throne, and I couldn't really get the shape of it right. I don't consider myself that great of a builder when it comes to organic things like this, but my buddy Dark Solid came through and designed this awesome elephant throne for us. So there is still one more thing I want to do with this room, and that is add something that is going to just give it a big wow factor, and that is adding some trim around the edges of the carpet. I have a really cool design that I built up in creative mode using some map art. Now, I've never done map art before. Well, I have in creative, but technically not in survival. I've never done map art. I don't know if it's something I'm going to enjoy. I kind of have been doing it all season, sort of, kind of. But yeah, I think it's time that we do it because we want to add that wow factor and make our throne room that much more amazing. So to do this, we're going to need a lot of netherrack and a lot of yellow concrete. I have the yellow concrete covered, of course, because we have that from the spires. But we're going to need about 6 or 7 shulkers of netherrack. Those are the colors that really make the map look awesome. So it's time for some resource gathering. So we are going to need about 7 shulker boxes of netherrack for this map art. And I don't mind collecting up all this netherrack because I will probably eventually need more red nether brick, and we could always smelt the netherrack into nether brick to get the red nether brick. Nether brick into red nether brick. I don't know what's wrong with my brain. It should take us too long to get 7 shulker boxes, I wouldn't think, with speed mining. I've also bopped down to a low part of the nether, so we have a chance to bump into some ancient debris. And of course, who doesn't want ancient debris? So I'll check back with you guys once we're done with all of this. It didn't end up taking too long. A couple pickaxes later, and we have our 7 shulker boxes of netherrack. We also got about 2.5 stacks of nether quartz, which, as a redstone enthusiast, I can never say no to free quartz. And unfortunately, we only got 2 ancient debris. I wasn't at the appropriate Y level to really find an optimal amount of ancient debris, I guess is what you would call it. But that's okay, we weren't really after that anyway. So now it's time to get cranking on the map art. Alrighty, I think that this is where we're going to plop down the maps. We're going to get started on the first one right now. I took an empty map and I smacked out the area right here, right next to the palace. And I put down some of the yellow concrete already just so I can find the corner. And then from there, I think it should be easy enough to find the rest of the corners and get this bad boy done. So I think we're going to finish this up with one more third-person time lapse. I hope you guys enjoy my first map art. Roll that music. We are finally done. I never thought that I would spend, I think that was maybe 2 hours or so, just to add a carpet trim. But this is our throne room. We have to have everything look amazing. Let me know your guys' thoughts down in the comments. I think this turned out super, super awesome. So of course the map is right over here next to the base. Like I said, it took a couple hours to get that into place, which is fine. I'm actually dreading ripping it out more so than I was putting it in, but it's kind of true that I'm not a big fan of map art. I really don't know how much of it I'm really gonna do in the future. I mean, if we're gonna do something like this, I think I would do it. I honestly think the trade-off for this is pretty worth it. 2 hours of work to add this carpet trim. That just adds that extra bit of wow factor to the entire room. And of course, like I said, let me know your guys' thoughts down in the comments. So the throne room is finally done, and that marks the last interior room for the palace. And that is all the time I have for this episode today, guys. If you liked it, please do not hesitate to hit that thumbs up. And if you're looking forward to future episodes on the Symmetria server, then hit that subscribe button and the bell for notifications. I upload new videos every single week. I know this one is a little late, but I spent a lot of time doing the stuff in this episode, so a like and a comment is very much appreciated. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you again. Bye-bye.
Yeah, we are in the place to be. Yeah, yeah,